Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to make some really fun earrings. We're going to use the Tibetan silver earring findings from the Spring Flowers inspiration bundle from Thunder Horse Descendant, as well as these green leaves and some green beads. Let's turn down, you can see it better that way. So what we have, as I was saying, are these loops from Thunder Horse Descendants Inspiration Bundle, Spring Flowers, one for each. And also from her kit is these. They're going to go up here on top with this eye pin, eye pin. Then of course we have our ear wires. Then we're going to take these green leaves from my stash, a couple of ball heads, and one of our little green ones, and we are going to make some dangles to go down here. Now these are going to be the last thing I put on, and if you're wondering why, you'll find out in just a moment. So these are going to go down here at the base of our piece. And then we're going to take one of these leaves for each side, and it's going to hang on a little piece of chain from there. Now, these are the two pieces I took out of Baby Blanket from Jesse James Beads. There's one for each, two for each one. And these little lucite ones I came out of the Cherry Blossoms kit from Soft Flex. Again, these are from my stash, all of these little goodies here. Put these over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some 24 gauge wire and we're going to wire wrap these onto here. Now this one's going to go, put these the other way, here with one of these little yellow crystals inside. This one will go up here on the other one, again with a yellow crystal. Then we're going to put this green leaf, and it's going to wrap right down the side here. Then we're going to put this little pink one here and put that in there, like so. We're going to do that all by wire wrapping it together. This one will go over here, of course. And I'm going to try and make them be opposite to each other, of course. So, go like so. And here. So. And I think these are going to turn out so pretty. I hope so anyway. The tricky part is going to be wire wrapping these little guys onto here. So what we need to do is get a length of our wire here. And I'm going to get about, oh, I don't know. That's hopefully enough there. Let's see how much that's going to be. And I may need more than one piece because of the way we're going to wrap the flowers in, but we'll see. So we have a piece of, it's about 12 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with one of these little flowers. Get off there, baby. And we're going to take our little yellow bicone, go up a ways, and then we're going to fold it over as straight as we can here. Oops, that wants to come over that way. We want it to be as squared up as possible because it's going to be the middle of our little flower here. And we have to put our see, I'm not sure if I can get away with just using one wire or if I'm going to have to cut these so that they all can have a separate wire wrap in them, like so. And as you can see, that doesn't want to come down the way I want it to, so we're going to have to get it to do so by pushing it down more, yanking our wires down. And then they're going to go on opposite sides like so, once we have it down as well as we can get it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this wire that's going over this direction, put our flower in place as much as we can, and then this wire is going to wrap around this bar as much as we can make it so that our little guy stays in place here. And if you need to use your pliers to pull things through, by all means do so. I'm going to do so right here because we're in a tight spot and our little flower needs to stay right there. So we're going to wrap 2 or 3 times on the one side so it will stay right here. And then of course we'll wrap the other side on the rest of the wire so that we can get it to stay in place. Let's see how I'm gonna wrapping that on this side. Now I know that that's not going to be the prettiest wrap in the world because, well, it's in the back. And hopefully it won't cause any real problems. Okay, she's pretty sturdy to that side, so I think we can probably trim this wire off and tuck it in some, which when you're working on something like that, tucking it is a little easier said than done. Now what we want is this little flower to sit about over the top of that loop. So we're going to bring and pull it with this other wire here, this wire from the other side. Pull her down and through here. And then we're going to wrap it around to the other side of this loop. Now you can go through the loop if you want. That'll hold it sturdier in that particular way, but I want this to stay down here some. So I maybe should have gone through the other side first, which I think I should have, so we'll back this back out of here. Oops, I knocked one of my yellow bicones down. I'm going to have to find a new one if I lost it. And then through the bottom piece here. Now this is where I say you could go through that loop right there if you wanted to, the hole. It would probably keep her sturdier there. Let's see if I get this to sit the way I want it here. That's better. Okay. Now we'll go through here. Back through again, and we'll probably put in 3 loops here like we did the other side, and I might cut it off at that point because we're going to need to go over to the other side, and I'm not sure that we're going to want to just wire wrap along that bar until we get there. You could. It wouldn't do any harm to anything. You would be able to see it, of course, but it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. There's two. See how that's going to sit there. And if you're worried about the way it sits, you can also always just do a wrap around the base of it and bring it back through to give it some more stability. We'll see if we want to do that once we get this next wrap in here. How are you doing, babe? Okay. I am going to, I think, just do a little wrap around the base of the flower. See how that all instantly tightened it up some? And there's that one. Now, because we don't need the wire on until we get way up here, we could cut it right here. But I'm not sure if I'm going to. I may just do a few wraps to get up to there. Let's see what it looks like to do that. Now, if you decide to do it like this, and you want this wrap decorative like thing all the way around, what you can do after you have this done is to take another piece of wire and just wrap it like so around the outside. We'll see what it looks like when we get to that point. Now I'm getting close to where I want to put my wraps that is going to be the base of our next flower. So I'm probably just going to put 3 relatively tight ones right there. And so I can put this next flower in. Now, because I don't have the wire separate here, I'm going to have to go up through the flower, then through the yellow crystal, and then come back down through both so that I can get it the way it needs to be. So now I've got 3 wraps here. This one's not laying flat. There we go. And now, actually, I'm going to do one more because I want it to be good and stable here. I will come up. And now we'll go through our next flower. Put our crystal in. You'll know I dropped one, so I still have to find that one. Now, so that's going to sit just like so over the top of that, and then back down and This time I think going to go through the circle. Oops, come here, you. Okay. Now I have to pull that nice and tight so that our crystal sits in there properly. Now see, it doesn't want to. It's turning, so I need to get this in place before the wire tightens up all the way. Now, since this doesn't want to behave, I have to get my wire back out so that I can get it to the point where my bicone is turned before we pull the wire back down. And I can't do that while it's got this giant loop in it here. So we need to get the bicone over to the other side. See how it won't work? It won't go over that. So we need to get it so that it can, because it has to be on the other side of this wire, right at the base, facing down, so that when the wire tightens, it won't leave extra wire on that side. But it did leave it on this side. So let's see if we can get this to turn just a bit more. And unfortunately, I think the bicone is going to stay standing up instead of turning the way I want it to. Now I've got it too far over there, apparently. So it needs to turn itself on its side a little bit here so that when the wire pulls down, it's bringing the bicone with it. Come on, turn a little bit more here. Okay. It's just going to have a little wire showing because it's not going to behave. So now we have to wire wrap this side, and we're going to wrap it across both wires here because, of course, there's no gap right here. So we got 3 going in and then up. And now is when our green leaf gets put on. And it goes down the side here. Come on, baby, go on there. And it's going to sit right like so. And now we're going to wrap it right here. Now see how that's sitting now? Isn't that pretty? Now the next step is our little pink flower. And I think I probably have just enough wire to do this. So the pink flower will sit right here. I'm going to steal one of these yellow bicones till I get another one here. It goes down. And now I am going to try and bend this the way I want it prior to going through back through our hole. Though I'm not sure I'm going to manage to do that, but we'll see. Oop. Okay. Come all the way down to where you're supposed to sit at. Now, I want this yellow one more into the center here. And because I want this flower to sit between these, instead of going back up on this bar, I'm going to go over to this bar. Like so. And now we're going to put our wraps right here. Now, if I had left myself a little more wire, I might have come back up so that this whole thing was wrapped. But I don't think I have enough wire to do that. Well, I suppose we could try, and if it's not, then I can always take it back off. I might have just enough to make a nice little pattern around here. It's not going to have enough to wrap it anymore, but once I get it over here, it will be done. Okay, there is our first piece of our earrings done. This one is simple. We're just going to make a big loop and put it across the bottom here. And we have to put this on a chain over here on this side. So I am going to do this one up because it's very simple and we'll get it on really quickly. We're going to use the larger of the two. Well, no, it doesn't need the larger. It can go on that loop just fine with just the small one. So we'll bring her around. And I'm going to connect this one directly to our wire. Or our base. Oh, I don't think I left a big enough loop there, and I may have just made a messy loop right there, but I think it'll be all right. Now bring these down and wrap this wire up. Cut this extra wire off. And carefully tuck this in around this crystal. So there we are so far. And now we have to put this little chain on and this in here. Now, a lot of times these will not take a normal little bail or a normal piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and just cut a little more piece of wire off. Only a couple inches. Don't need a lot, because all we're going to do is we're going to take and put the wire through the bead. Then we're going to bring it up and around, and we're going to wrap this. Just once or twice, a little twist here. I don't want much, because what we're going to do here is we're going to hook this onto the chain. Just going to wrap this baby here. A couple of wraps. And I'm making this a little messy, and I don't really like a messy wrap, but so now that we've got this hooked on here, what we're going to do is put this side through the chain, and then we're just going to bring this, well, actually, let's make a little loop here. We don't want a big one, just a little one. And in fact, I'm not going to use, for one of the few times I'm not going to use my bell making pliers, I'm going to use my round nose pliers, because I just want a tiny little loop here. See how little I've made that? And the only reason I'm even is now I have to find my chain again. There it is. And we want to slide that link onto there. Now we're going to hold this. And we're going to do a, come on, you don't behave nicely. We're going to wrap once or twice. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tiny spiral. And I hope I've got it long enough that I can put it down onto the leaf. Okay. Now, as you can see, that's a little squared at the end, which means this spiral is probably going to be, got to get a tiny bit of a square to it right there on that spot. In order to fix that, if I wanted to, I could cut a little bit of the wire off, and that would make it be less like that. Push it down into place there. It's not a very big spiral, but it's a little bit of a spiral, so, and that's what I wanted. So then we'll take our jump ring here, open it up, through the chain. And then, well, we want to go the other way because I want the spiral in the front. And then through our bar here and tighten it back up. So that's the how it's going to hang, just like so. And now we're gonna, oops, I've got it backwards. How did I manage to do that? No, it didn't. It just was laying down backwards on the table here. Now the last step is to put our little piece up at the top. So we'll open up our eye pin and hook it on. Close it up. And then put our green bead up here at the top. Then, because we're going to put our ear wire on right now, we want it to turn this way so that when the ear wire goes on, it slides on properly. So little one, up and around, bring her down and over, leaving a gap, and then straighten her up some. So then she sits like this. Now we want to put our ear wire on. We want to feed it in backwards. Because as it comes around, it turns, as you can see. Now we need to hold this and wrap our ear wire up at the top. Whoa, let that one fly. Now we'll tuck this in. Straighten it up because I can see it's a bit crooked here from side to side. And there is our pretty little earring. All done. Isn't that gorgeous? I really like how that turned out. I just wish I could have got my wires turned a little better in the flowers, the second and third flower. But I really like the way it turned out. I think it's really cute. And now we need to do our second one and we'll be all done. So this is good. I've got a new yellow crystal out. And what we want to do is exactly the same as this one, except opposite. Because I want our things to sit in the opposite direction as the other one, so that it's so that they're opposite earrings. So when you wear them, they're going to be, you know, on either side so that they even out. So what we need to do is we need to do exactly what we did with the other one. We can always, we'll put these things on secondary, and we've got to get some wire out to do this. Now, because I barely had enough to do that, and we had got out 12 inches, I'm thinking we might get an extra inch out. I'd rather cut a little off than have to force it through like I did this last one. So let's get 13 inches out. Maybe even 14. But 13 is not a bad number for me, so I'm not going to worry about 13. Just going to cut it right here. And we're going to do what we did with that other one. Now we'll start wrapping up the side here to add that design in the wire to this side. Oop. Got her all kinkied up here. See, we had at least four, though we ran out of wires, so now I need to cut this extra little bit off here. And tuck that little bit in right there. So there we go, our opposite to that one. Now, I think this little piece of wire might be big enough for our leaf that we need to make on the chain. So let's okay, so we got that little bit done. Now we need to, oops, that's not tucked very well. Okay, now we're going to make a tiny little loop. Feed our chain on there. Where is it? There we go. And then we're gonna This one has a lot of wire for the curly Q. I made it a lot better than I did the other one, but I don't want the curly Q to be so much bigger than its buddy over there. So what we're going to do is cut some of this wire off. And I think probably about this much. Now we're going to start wrapping that tiny curly Q up. And that one has a weird little notch in it. See how that is? So I'm going to take my clippers and I'm going to clip that out of there. Otherwise it was going to wrap up really weird. Oops, what I'd knock over. Then we'll go back to our little wrap. Get it going again. Then we will wrap it. Now I think this curly Q is going to be a little bigger than the other one, and I'm just going to be okay with that. Over you go, baby. And right in the front of your loop. There we go. See, it's a little bit bigger there. That's all right. Now, next, we've got to do this piece. I'm going to do this piece before I put on the wired one, because I think it'll be easier, since this one goes directly onto the bar, to wrap it up and put it on first. So we'll just grab this baby, turn it over, get the bell making pliers, and do our wrap around and down and over. Make sure you leave that gap and bring it up. Now we'll put this on and we'll wrap her up. Okay, it's time to trim off the excess. And carefully tuck it in. Okay. So there is our one leaf on. Looks like it needs a little straightening here. There we go. Now this leaf, because we're going opposite, it needs to be crooked. There you go. It needs to be on in the inner side, on over here, or the outer, depending on how you want to wear your earrings. So let's get our little jump ring open here. Put on our chain first. Okay, so over here. Nope, right there. And now we need to close this up. Okay. Did I put it on backwards? I may have. Never sure of this one because it, like I said, it keeps wanting to flop. So there's those. Now the next step is, of course, to put our top on. So we'll open up our eye pin, put her on. Then our green bead. So pretty. We want to bend it so that we're away from this, so we're going this way. Now we got to get our bell making pliers, put them in there, wrap it around, bring her around, leaving a gap and straightening her up like so. Now we feed our ear wire in backwards because as it comes around loop, it will go turn itself to the forwards way. Grab where they come together and push them back down together because they're apart. Remember when you brought them up, you brought them apart. So then we want to wrap this. Cut the extra off. And tuck it in. Oh, stop. Now it looks like I have this a touch crooked, so I'm going to bring her over. Come on. There we go, looking good. There's our second earring. Aren't those pretty? I think these turned out just fabulous. I like them a lot. And I hope you like them also. Aren't they cute? So there are our really pretty, I love how they turned out, earrings using our pieces from our Thunder Horse Descendant Inspiration Bundle. April flowers. Aren't those pretty? And with a couple of things from my stash, as well as the little pink lucite flowers from Cherry Blossom, Softflex's Cherry Blossom, and the little iridescent flowers from my Jesse James Bead Mix baby blanket. So quite a conglomeration of different things we used for those. Thunder Horse Descendant, Softflex, Jesse James Beads, and of course my own stash. I love these earrings. I think they are gorgeous, and I can already promise they will be in my personal bits of earrings. So I really love those. Those turned out so pretty. There they are. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we will see you the next time. Bye-bye.